All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Bailey Bracken. I'm the career advisor for the School of Business and the School of Education.
And hello, everyone. My
How
name
you doing?
is Alonzi Jr. Hello, everybody.
And so today we're going to go over how to write a personal statement. So Arthur is going to start us off.
Cool beans. So let's look at the purpose of why we would even have a workshop on a personal statement. Most people think a personal statement, they only think that it can only be used for graduate school, but that is totally from the reason that you can just use a personal statement. It can also be used for school assignments, fellowships, and even scholarships. So for some of you guys who was on the call at the very beginning, that was one of the questions that was asking. You actually can use your personal statement for scholarships. It is a great way to introduce yourself, and sometimes you will be prompted to reply to specific questions, or sometimes there will be a generic prompt. But it's a great reason or a great way to show why you're a great fit for either a graduate school, grant, scholarship, or fellowship. So we go to the next slide. So brainstorming. And so for grad school, you may want to write about your interests and about the program and the field of study that you're wanting to go into, any relevant experience that you have in the field. You may want to also try to tie it to your long-term career goals and why you chose a specific program and why you're a good fit, or other relevant topics. But you always want to make sure that you're being specific and that you want to tailor your personal statement to each opportunity that you're shooting for.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started with some questions to kind of get you in that headspace to make sure you're thinking the right way and you're answering some stuff that will probably kind of inspire your personal statement. So what's special and unique and distinctive or impressive about you or your life? So kind of go back and think about some things you've overcome, what's kind of shaped you to be different or stand out, kind of reflect upon that. Maybe ask your family, friends for inspiration as well. So another question to kind of get you in the right headspace is what details of your life, personal or family, history, people, or events that have shaped you or influenced your goals that might help the committee better understand who you are and help you set you apart from other applicants. So once again, I always like when I was writing my personal statement for grad school, I definitely asked my family, friends about what some like details or things that stood out about me. What should I include? Kind of helps branch out and get new ideas in your head. So this is another great question to add. Have you had to overcome any unusual obstacles, hardships, for example, economic, family, or physical in your life? So we kind of mentioned that earlier. Think about things that might help you stand out or shaped your personality or the way you work or why you chose to go this program, or like if you have a special connection to it, making sure you include your why in your personal statement is really important. So what personal characteristics, for example, integrity, compassion, persistent, do you possess that would improve your prospects for success in the field or profession? Is there a way to demonstrate or document that you have these characteristics? So usually in a personal statement, sometimes it's kind of good to go into one specific moment or story. And it's a great way to showcase your why you want to go into this field, why you want this program, or why you want this scholarship, why you're connected to your major, but also to show the personality traits that come with that. So it's always important to kind of look in that field, maybe do your research on what that job is or what grad program is, think about what personality traits that you'll need to succeed in that field, and make sure you include that in your story. Are there any gaps or discrepancies in your academic record that you should explain? For example, great grades, but mediocre MCAT scores. For example, a distinct upward pattern for your GPA, but if it's only the average in the beginning. So we all know college is hard. We all what that job is or grad program is. So making sure that you tell your full story. If there's a gap on your resume or like you did have a low grade in the class, this is a great time to showcase how you overcame it, what you've learned from it, and to let the people know of the committee that you can handle anything that gets thrown your way and that you would be a great fit for the scholarship or graduate program. When did you become interested in this field? What have you learned about it and about yourself? And that has furthered your stimulated your interest, reinforced your convocation that you are well suited to this field, and what insights have you gained? So this is kind of going back to like that certain moment, like I said, that impacted you and made you realize you want to go into this field, or you're connected to your major. Maybe it's because a family member had the same field as you, or maybe you were personally impacted by it. Just making sure you know your why and making sure you connect it and make it showcase about you, make it personal and yourself. What skills, for example, leadership, communical, analytical, do you possess? We kind of mentioned this earlier, so making sure you showcase these skills in your stories, whether it's through volunteering or your part-time job. It doesn't have to be quite connected to your field, but making sure you've showed skills that you've gained that are not quite on your resume might be kind of harder to explain. So this is a great way to showcase that. Some other tips for writing a personal statement. So tell a story, like I kind of said earlier, to illustrate the point that you really want to express. Stories are easier to remember, better than straight facts, and this makes the committee remember you more. A story, when you present a story about yourself, it makes it more interesting for the committee to read. It shows who you are as a person. It makes it a lot more relatable instead of saying, this is why I want this program, this, and you're given like straight facts. It makes it a little bit more easier to break it down, especially reminds them that you're human and life happens. So giving supporting details, making sure that we talked about earlier, those skills, personality traits, things like that. If you mention in your personal statement that you will be a great doctor because you're hardworking, and then you have to provide proof. So be specific. Don't be afraid to show them how much you know. So this is a great time to go into, if you have that work experience or volunteer opportunity, making sure you show this in your personal statement, and you can bring that connection. You'd be like, hey, look, I want to be a doctor. I've done the shadowing. I've gotten my hours. I've known this because I've been in the room watching this happen, making sure you go into detail of how you are hardworking and you can provide that proof. So making sure you research the program, demonstrate why you're a good fit and how this program will benefit you and vice versa. So you always want to talk about what stood out about that program to you. Why is it a good fit for you? Is there a certain aspect of that program, like a specialty or something that's important to you? If you like, maybe you want to be in a certain research lab, if this is what they're known for researching, get in contact with them, let them know that's important to you and that you're interested and you want to help out in that lab, or that topic interests you and you're willing to put in the research and dedication. And maybe you can even bring some of that connection back from your personal background or your undergraduate work, or connect that to the scholarship. Just a great way to show why this is a good fit for you and kind of show a little bit more of your personality. So get feedback. Have someone look at your personal statement to help you with revisions. Seek someone like from professors, career services, learning commons, etc. It's so important to have people look over it. I know sometimes it's hard to write a personal statement, so sometimes you just have to get all your thoughts out on a paper, and then when you have someone read it, they can kind of go back and mark it and see what's important for that certain program or scholarship or opportunity that you may have. Also, there's always grammar issues, especially if you're just kind of writing from your head. Sometimes like people skip words or miss words, or they miss a comma or have a run-on sentence because you're just so busy writing. So it's important to take that time to meet with other people, let them read over it and get their feedback, and making sure they check for grammar and little things like that.
So let's look at a few personal statement don'ts. These are the things that get people caught up or cause it to not be picked over someone else because they use the same answers as other applications, or do not include high school achievements. So you want to make sure, unless if they're really remarkable, you want to just keep it to the most recent things. And here's something that's very important. Do not touch on controversial or political topics. You know, right now, a lot of things are going on, but it's probably best to leave those out to avoid swaying or dissuading someone. And of course, do not lie and avoid cliches. But I also want to add in a few more that I think are kind of important as well. Like, say, for instance, writing the same personal statement and utilizing it for each application and not tweaking it and or changing it. That's a great way to have it be not considered as much. And also too, exceeding the word and or page limits. So if they're giving you, say for instance, a hard 750 to 1,000 words, and you're like over 2,000 to 3,000, more often than not, that's going to have some negative effects. Also, too, reminding the school of the ranking or telling them how good they are. They already know that, so you don't have to remind them. So those are just a few of the don'ts that you want to make sure that you're staying away from whenever you're writing your personal statement. And so some final writing tips, you always want to make sure you start strong. Make sure that introduction pop so that you can draw them in. You always want to make sure you're using the funnel approach with your introduction. And remember the basic structure of any essay. 3 things: introduction, body, and conclusion. And last but not least, check for spelling and grammatical errors. There's this really cool resource that's called Grammarly that you can download that's free, that I implore all of you guys to use it for your personal statement, but also in life as well. So we wanted to provide some examples for you guys, and we're just gonna skim the first paragraph just to give you an example. So Jake jogged on the field to kick anything but ordinary field goals. He was the place kicker for the University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB Blazers. Although I was a senior linebacker, all I could do was cheer to help Jake make the kick. Jake succeeded and delivered an overtime win over Tulane in his last senior game. While I was celebrating with my teammates, a bittersweet feeling came over me. For the past 13 years, academic and football had been my life, and my football career was over. So let's go to the next example real quick on the next slide. So as we can see, it's proceeding. So I practiced suturing and other techniques that allowed me to help the team address various problems. I read and studied pathological basis for these problems and multiple ways to approach specific problems. While working long hours with the orthopedic team, I felt part of the team with a special role to play, whether retrieving film from the radiology or helping close after surgery. I felt I helped my team achieve a victory when the patient's problems was corrected. So this is part of the body. And as you can see with the last paragraph, that is part of the conclusion. So we wanted to make sure that we cited the resources that we utilized for today's presentation, which was adapted from the University of Oklahoma, as well as the Writing Center from UConn, to make sure that we give them their props. We like utilizing resources from all over.
So here's our contact information. My name is Bailey Bracken. I said that earlier. I'm the career advisor for the School of Business and School of Education, and my email is bailey.bracken@UNT-Dallas. You can also see on the little sticky note at the bottom, our general email is careers@untdallas.edu, and we're here Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 6.